Welcome to Buzzed and Baffled, the podcast where the wine is flowing, the stories get weird, and we try our best to keep the chaos at a minimum. But try is the key word.
Before we jump in, a quick behind the scenes truth. Producing this show is basically an Olympic sport. Between being the media manager, the sound engineer, the editor, and trying to control her own voice volume, which, let's be honest, Nicole's has the natural power of a small megaphone, things can get a little unpredictable. So if you hear the occasional mic spike, just know it's not your headphones. It's Nicole, living her best and loudest life.
And a quick disclaimer, we're not experts, just two curious humans with wine in hand and the enthusiasm for the bizarre. Some topics may be dark, sensitive, or downright strange, so listener discretion is advised. And just remember, all of the things we say are our own opinions and not part of any other legal representation. And remember, everything you hear is for entertainment only. So take the stories seriously, just not too seriously. Now pour a glass of wine, settle in, and get ready to get buzzed and back. Okay. We are recording.
Oh, we are. I'm going to have to kick her out. She's
Okay.
not going to lay down.
She's just pacing because she wants some of the traditional beef jerky.
Yes, traditional, which it'll make sense in a minute. It'll also be gross.
But what I'm learning here is that I was right in my last story, and Kyla really did like the topic. I want you to all know she's carrying Lana out of the room. So, good news, Kyla. This really was for you.
Lana had her chance to behave and she couldn't, so she got booted. Yeah, I'm going to make a disclaimer before we even get in, because looking back on several stories, some of mine seem to have a overarching theme.
Uh-huh.
And not only that, but this one is so in-depth, it has to be split into two parts.
Because you really, really, really like cannibalism.
Apparently. And Nicole was teasing me, and then I was like, oh shit, I also did a Dahmer episode. This isn't boding well for me.
But I say I put it in there just for you. I'm not lying.
And I've had two other episodes about like weird meat things.
Uh-huh.
I don't like cannibalism, for the record. I like talking about it in story form.
What about scissors? How do you feel about scissors?
Stab you in the eye with scissors. Read the wine.
It's called Steak and Potatoes. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon, and there's a very pretty cow on it where you can see where the butcher is going to take his parts.
Yeah, I didn't. We had a pretty big storm today, and I intended to go out, but it was cold, and I just didn't.
I was tougher. I did go out of the house. I had so many projects to do.
I
today.
left the house, but after I was getting sideswiped by the city police because they were going too fast around a corner, I was like, I'm just going to go home. But this is adjacently theme fitting.
I mean, I guess it's good that we're not sitting in the ER doing this pod right now, because I would have just come up there.
I would have been so pissed. I've been so excited to. God damn it, Lana! She just opened the door. Okay, hold on.
It's going great. You got it? So, steak and potatoes. The Hereford has long been an icon of the cattle industry. Is this Hefford?
I think it's Hereford. Wait, now I heard you say it wrong too many times. Hereford.
Hereford, okay.
You know how I came up with that in my head? You know in My Fair Lady, when he makes you say in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire, that's how I had to say it so I could remember how it was said.
You loon. I'm going to be writing a pod about you someday.
Fair enough.
So the Hereford is large framed, red bodies with trademark red faces. And when they say red bodies, they mean like the fur, not just the meat.
Yeah.
The breed became popular because of their maternal instincts, resiliency, and ability to thrive in rugged climates. We toast this outstanding breed of cattle with steak and potatoes. So they're really maternal and very hardy, and we celebrate by eating them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this really actually does fit the story. So
I'm gonna see if I can open this.
okay, this is a real corker, not a screw top. So I have it started. Now pop it down and put the second, or just that works too. Nice.
And I didn't spill it. Can't pour very well because of my janky arm. Although Lloyd fixed it up good today. Tomorrow I'll be feeling better. I feel like that guy from Scary Movie.
Oh, the tiny hand.
My good arm.
This is a beautiful, deep ruby color. Like, it smells good. It hasn't had time to breathe because we just opened it, and I'm a bad wine steward. But give her a taste. It'll be better in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But
this would be really good with prime rib for Christmas.
Cool.
So let's talk about your favorite topic.
I've been so excited to do this story. Once I started, I think last week I started. This was actually one of the first stories. I have a list of potential pod stories, and this was probably the second or third one I ever put on here.
Okay.
And I only put it on because of what I knew about it.
But when you did deep dive, there's so much more.
I knew about 5 or 10% of what actually happened. And I'm really glad I did this because this is a shit show. So buckle up. It's going to get weird.
Well, I mean, your favorite topics normally do.
Yeah, it's so much beyond that. So I'm really excited to share this with you all. And I spent a lot of time on this, and that's why it's a two-parter.
As I'm thinking about it, though, maybe we need to pull a Trump and start selling buzzed and baffled steaks.
Oh, my God. What are they made of? Nobody knows.
No, mind your business. That's what.
Sky meat, exploded whale, headless chicken. Nobody knows. With the help of ChatGPT, so I wrote the story myself. I don't use
you don't cheat.
I don't use AI to write my stories. I did one where I had it run it through and kind of make it cleaner, but I didn't even really like that. But I do use ChatGPT to help me come up with titles.
Oh, I do too. I'm not punny enough for this. Ben is the one who has the good dad jokes.
Yeah. And this one, there were some pretty gruesome options that I did not choose.
Oh, I want to know the ones. I'll put them on the website.
Yeah, I'll pull it up on my computer.
The ones that didn't make the cut.
Yeah. So, part 1 is entitled "Manifest Destiny and Other Bad Ideas." The Donner Party Story, Part 1.
Dun dun dun.
Okay, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let me grab a sip of water first. I'm so excited.
Like, her eyes are twinkling, guys. We keep talking about getting a camera to record us recording this, but we haven't done that yet.
This is one of those stories where at every turn it just gets worse. It's a Nicole story, kind of.
I mean, I'm here for it. I love it where everything goes sideways and nobody's happy at the end.
Yeah, you're going to love this story then. In the spring of 1846, a group of pioneers from Springfield, Illinois, left Independence, Missouri on the Oregon Trail to travel west, seeking new economic opportunity and trying to fulfill the idea of manifest destiny.
We were not recording when you explained the Oregon Trail, so maybe for our listeners, we should let them know that it's where it starts there in Missouri.
Yeah, okay, I can talk about that a little bit. And we have maps we'll put up too.
I had no idea where it's. I thought it started in New York. So.
So the Oregon Trail actually starts in Independence, Missouri. That's the head of the trail, and anyone who wanted to take the trail had to go there to start it. The trail goes kind of northwest-ish,
like up through Wyoming.
Yeah,
and then down through Utah.
Mm-hmm. And if there's a map on your lap that if you look at, it shows you exactly where it goes.
I was looking at the big map on the wall.
The big map with no Oregon Trail highlighted.
And not the one where there's an actual map that I can, the trail is highlighted.
We'll put these maps on. There's a couple maps that we'll reference.
So the California Overland Immigrant Trail.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that a little bit more. The Oregon Trail really goes from Independence, Missouri up to the Willamette Valley of Oregon.
I see that there's some deviations
Yes.
on this map.
And we should probably put up some images of the best video game ever, the Oregon Trail.
Oh, yes. I didn't die of dysentery.
Well, naturally. I mean, that's par for the course for you. You had a hurdy tummy.
I kept all my limbs, though.
Okay. Manifest Destiny was the belief that all the land between the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans belonged to European Americans, and it was their duty to settle it.
Womp.
Mm-hmm. Some Catholics wanted to travel west for religious freedom because California, Nevada, Utah, and parts of Arizona, Wyoming, and Colorado were still Mexican territory, and Catholicism was the primary religion.
And back then, Catholicism was not the primary immigrant religion for European Americans.
Right.
They were mostly Protestants.
Mm-hmm, and people who came in with Catholic backgrounds, Irish, Italian, they were often shunned into the lower classes of society. Yeah. The party was made up of 32 members of the Donner and Reed families in a convoy of 9 wagons.
And I can see these 2, or I guess 3 people up on the board. I'm assuming there was more than just these 3 people.
There was, but it was 1846 and photography was super rare.
Okay.
There were a couple other photos of some of the people I'll mention, but those are the main people.
Okay. So George doesn't have a wife.
He does. There's just not a picture of her. They left on May 12th, 1846 as part of a 500 wagon group who all departed Independence at about the same time, but it was different groups.
I was like, that's a lot of people. I'm assuming you don't know each other.
Right. There's so many people going. You kind of just, it's like being on the freeway. You're not traveling with the people, but they're around you.
The world's slowest freeway.
Yep.
It's like David is driving.
David's leading the freeway. He's the lead wagon.
That's the reason it took him like 4 months to cross.
David was driving. Patriarch George Donner, who's up there on the board, was about 60 years old. And that's clearly a slightly younger picture because he's not 60 in that photo.
I was like, wow, he looks pretty good for 60. Mm-hmm. He's got a weak chin, though.
It's under a beard.
Okay,
it's hard to tell.
It's probably like an old tin photo, too, so it's not good definition in the picture.
Yeah, and as I told you yesterday, don't rag on me because they're not in color, because color photos didn't exist back then, so it's not my fault they're in black and white.
You get a pass this time.
He's traveling with his 44-year-old wife, Tamsin, and age gaps at that time are pretty common.
And you got to get them young for when they die in childbirth.
Yeah. They had their 3 daughters, as well as his 2 daughters from a previous marriage.
Sounds like the worst road trip.
Yeah. George's younger brother, Jacob Donner, was also traveling with his wife, their 5 children, and his 2 stepsons. The children in the group aged from 1 to 14. It's a very young family.
I don't know if I'd want to be bringing a baby on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, juicy and succulent, I guess.
There were also 5 Teamsters traveling with the Donners, and those were the people who actually drove the wagons because they were experienced. And we have Teamsters today. They're truckers.
Oh, it's like I don't really know what a Teamster is.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Back in the day, Teamsters would drive teams of oxen or horses.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then the name just has kind of stuck through today. And we still have like a Teamsters union.
I guess I always thought that they were union members, Teamsters, for some reason.
Yeah, it's called the Teamsters Union.
Look at that.
And it started, but they're still drivers today. It's just automated,
I learned something not about cannibalism today.
That's the one thing. The Reed family consisted of 45-year-old James, his wife Margaret, their 3 children, and his stepdaughter. And they're up on the board as well.
Okay.
The kids in that family were aged 3 to 13. Again, young group of kids.
Yeah.
as well as his 70-year-old mother-in-law, who was in the advanced stages of tuberculosis.
Obviously, you want to bring her across what I'm assuming is going to be the icy tundras of Wyoming.
Yeah, a super long journey, I think, is like definitely what the doctor recommends.
I mean, they did recommend clean, cold air, so she's going to get some.
The Reeds also had 3 Teamsters, a handyman, and a cook with them.
I'm assuming these are people you paid.
Yes.
And then they just stayed and lived with you wherever you were? Did they just go on their merry way to the next people then?
Yeah, they were hired.
Okay.
The cook and the handyman may have been like their servants from their original home, but the Teamsters would have been hired for this trip.
And then they go back and come back
Probably,
again.
yeah.
Okay.
James Reed hoped not only for economic freedom, but also that the California weather would benefit his wife, who was in poor health, in addition to his mother-in-law.
Good Lord, people.
Although the two families were quite well off for the time, they had little or no experience with the demands of this type of overland travel. The trip typically took 4 to 6 months, going about 15 miles a day.
15? I can walk further than 15 miles a day. I've almost made you walk more than 15 miles a day.
Timing was crucial to avoid getting caught in both the muddy spring conditions or winter snowstorms, which could start as early as September up in the mountains. And you also had to make sure you timed it correctly so the livestock would have enough grass to graze on along the way.
Makes sense.
On May 29th, a little over 2 weeks from when they started, James Reed's mother-in-law, Sarah Keyes, succumbed to her tuberculosis.
Well, that's maybe going to make it a little bit easier to travel.
She was buried along the side of a trail near the campsite where she died. And there's still, to today, you can see the place where she died. They carved, not necessarily her grave, but it's a little, there's like a little stream and a little waterfall. And the people in the wagon train like carved initials and stuff in the rock.
Oh, that's nice.
After a month of travel, the group had gone 450 miles, with about 200 more to go before they would reach Fort Laramie, a fur trading post and major stop on the Oregon Trail that signified about being a quarter of the way done. And that's in Wyoming.
And that's where the first flag is.
No.
Oh, no, it's right here on the map.
Yeah,
though.
I had to draw it in on that one because it wasn't on
So
there.
it's right on the border between Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado.
Yeah, it's in the southeast corner of Wyoming. Although the group had been slowed by poor weather, Tamsin Donner, George's wife, wrote in a letter back to a friend she had in Springfield, Illinois, where they were from, that, quote, "Indeed, if I do not experience something far worse than I have yet done, I shall say the trouble is all in getting started," end quote. So up until this point, everything, easy peasy, but they were a little bit delayed, but what are you going to do?
It's a little slow going, but you got to do what you got to do.
As the wagon train moved on, several more families joined the party. And again, this is not this is just happenstance.
Like, we're just in the same location, not that we're sharing resources.
Yep. 37-year-old widow Lavina Murphy from Tennessee and her 5 younger children, plus her married daughters and their families, the Fosters and the Pikes, added 13 travelers to the group. The Eddy family from Illinois had 4. The Breens from Iowa were 10 strong and included a neighbor, Patrick Dolan. Also joining were the Kessebergs, immigrants from Germany who had a young daughter already and a son who was born on the trail.
Oh, my Lord.
So there's an infant, like a baby.
And she had to give birth on the trail. Just like bite on the spoon.
Yeah. Also joining were the Wolfingers, a couple rumored to be very wealthy, who had a hired driver. His name was Dutch Charlie Berger. I don't know.
But they're the fancy pants ones of the group. I bet they get eaten first.
And then I can't remember because there's so many eatings. I'm not even going to horn you, but it's something like that. And they also had 3 other single men traveling with them. Again, it's just a group joining a larger group.
Yeah.
So that was Augustus Spitzer, Joseph Reinhardt, and a man who's all I know him is by his last name, Hardcoop.
Okay.
Lastly, Luke Halloran, a young man with tuberculosis, was taken in by the Donners at Little Sandy River after the families he was with no longer had the resources to care for him. And if you look at the other map, you can see Little Sandy River is kind of up at the start of where the trail is.
Okay. If you have tuberculosis, do not start a 4-month cross-country journey.
Stay home.
Like, I'm not going to get on an airplane if I have tuberculosis. I'm certainly not going to get in a wagon.
Like, how terrible.
That's awful.
Yeah,
also,
just stay home, dude.
David would be unbearable.
Oh my God.
If he had tuberculosis and we were on the Oregon Trail.
Yep. He'd be
no one would ever have had as bad a tuberculosis as David.
No. Explorer and former Confederate soldier Lansford Hastings was an early pioneer who published The Emigrant's Guide to Oregon and California to encourage other Americans to move west. He also developed Hastings Cutoff, an alternative route to the California Trail, which was a section that branched off of the main Oregon Trail and went down towards California rather than continuing north to Oregon. It's split up, so his cutoff splits off the main trail sooner than the usual California Trail route, going south around the Great Salt Lake
in Utah,
through the Great Salt Lake Desert, and then rejoining up with the California Trail. So it's like a bypass.
So I'm looking, so this right here,
yes,
the Hastings Cutoff is this right
yes,
here.
That's exactly right.
So if you're looking at the website, if you see the Hastings Trail, it is the yellow mark or the yellow line by Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm. So instead of going up and around, it goes south and around.
I am going to make a prediction that perhaps the original route was made that way for a reason, and it will not be in their best interest to take the Hastings Cutoff.
Hastings himself had not traveled any part of this new route until earlier in 1846.
I thought you were going to say at all.
Which is, I mean, this is just like months before.
Yeah.
And even then, it was from California, so the other way.
Yeah.
Coming back. At the time, he was only the second known person to ever cross that portion of the Great Salt Lake Desert, and he did not have wagons when he did it.
I'm going to guess that the soil's not going to be conducive to this.
Damn it, Nicole.
I picture these like oxen-laden wagons just like sinking like quicksand.
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. Okay. We're not there yet, though.
Okay.
Hastings spent time at Fort Bridger, a small supply post at the head of the Hastings Cutoff, telling pioneers about his shortcut. He even had riders go back on the trail to get wagon trains that were coming and delivered them letters talking about the benefits of this path.
Does he get paid money for them taking his trail?
No.
Why does he care?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's about to become famous, so.
Mm-hmm. In July 1846, 2 months after they kind of started their journey, the Donner Party got one of those letters. It advised that Mexican authorities would likely cause trouble for settlers as they entered the Mexican territory, and they should band together and travel in larger groups rather than small clusters of wagons. Hastings also said that he would be waiting at Fort Bridger to guide the wagon train along this new route.
None of these people have seen a horror movie. They don't know what's going to happen.
Well, the group was still at Fort Laramie, so, a little ways back when they were at Fort Laramie, which was the major stop.
Okay, yep.
James Reed happened to meet up with an old friend making the return trip from California. Just happened to run into him. The friend told the group not to take Hastings Cutoff. Their wagons would not make it, and the information that Hastings had in his letters was not accurate.
And I'm guessing, like a man, he did not listen. The wife is like, I don't know, dear James. Maybe we should listen to the man.
Well, most of the wagons in this large group that they're in opted to turn off at the Little Sandy River and use the established existing trail.
The tried and true.
The others decided to take Hastings Cutoff.
I don't know.
Very well.
Nope.
Okay.
Tamsin Donner, George's wife, considered Hastings to be a, quote, selfish adventurer. And she was really upset about turning away from the main trail in favor of this shortcut.
She's going to have the world's biggest I told you so moment.
George Donner was chosen as the new leader of this group. Whoops. I'm
She's so
gesticulating over here.
Gregarious over here. She's just flailing about.
New leader of this wagon group that split off because he was calm and mature in contrast to the younger James Reed.
But he has never been on this trail.
No, but every group kind of picked someone to just kind of like be the leader. And that's not necessarily like the first person to go, but the leader of the people.
Okay, like the one who, brings forward decisions that need to be made.
Exactly. Although Reed had prior military experience, many in the group did not like him or his attitude because he had desired absolute power as a leader.
I mean, fair. He should not be making decisions.
No. A journalist named Edwin Bryant was traveling ahead of the Donner group and reached Fort Bridger about a week before them. Knowing the types of wagons the group was using and that there were many women and children with them, he left letters for the Donners advising them not to take Hastings Cutoff.
So there's 2 warnings. I have a feeling that someone is going to have told them thrice and no one is going to listen.
When the Donner group arrived at Fort Bridger on July 27th, Lansford Hastings had already left 11 days earlier to guide another 40-wagon convoy, the Harlan and Young group, through his trail. So he was not there as promised. Jim Bridger, who was the owner of Fort Bridger, would make substantially more money if travelers opted to use Hastings Cutoff because it required them to go directly past his outpost. He told the Donner group that the trail was smooth, free of hostile natives, and would cut 350 miles off of their trip to California.
I'm willing to bet that was not true.
He also told them water was plentiful along the trail, except for just a 30 or 40 mile stretch on a dry lake bed.
I'm going to guess that the Salt Lake is not one that you can get a lot of fresh water in.
Or the Great Salt Lake Desert.
Yeah. So he was a liar, pants on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like any honorary beef jerky?
I'm not quite ready for beef jerky yet.
I decided to give us a theme snack.
In reality, this shortcut, so they're saying it cuts off 350 miles. We know that's not going to be true.
No, I'm looking
it adds
at
miles. How many miles do you think it adds?
525.
All right, 150. And so it adds 150 miles, not cuts off 350. And instead of being 30 to 40 miles across, the Great Salt Lake Desert is more like 80 miles long.
Great.
Yeah. The group never got the letters from Edwin Bryant, who would later accuse Jim Bridger of deliberately not delivering them to the Donner Party.
Oh, I hope he had to stand charges and stuff like that. But there wasn't a court system.
No.
We've done other stories in these kind of areas. It's straight justice.
Yep. On July 31st, 1846, after a few days of rest, resupply, and wagon repairs, the group left Fort Bridger to take the Hastings Cutoff. They were joined by a 4-member family, the McCutcheons, and by a man named Jean-Baptiste Trudeau, who was from New Mexico and claimed to have knowledge about Native Americans in the area.
I'm going to guess he didn't. I'm going to guess nobody had anything that they claimed to have. Except for Margaret, who had common sense.
Mm-hmm. Within just days of setting out on Hastings Cutoff, the pioneers found the terrain to be significantly more difficult than described by Hastings and Bridger.
Durr.
Wagon wheels had to be locked to prevent uncontrolled rolling down steep inclines. So like a parking brake. Think about it like that.
So it was just sliding down the hill?
Yeah, there were times where they have to just lock it and slide it.
And hope for the best. I'm willing to bet turning was doing the same thing that cop cruiser was doing to you today.
And parts of the trail were not even visible. You couldn't tell where it was.
Well, because no one has gone over it like the other trail where people have gone back and forth all the time.
Yep. This was in stark contrast to the well-worn path of the Oregon Trail, which had easily identifiable wagon tracks to follow. Hastings didn't abandon them completely, however. He left directions nailed to trees along the way.
Great. So
Like the
when it
world's
rains,
worst scavenger hunt.
so like when it rains, it just like bleeds because it's like ink.
On August 6th, the group found a note instructing them to stop and wait for him to come back, and he would show them an alternate route to the one that he had taken the Harlan and Young group on. So he took them, he was like, oh, this original trail,
Not good for wagons.
I took these on this other trail, so there's a whole lot going on here. And that he would guide them through the more difficult areas. Hastings, however, only rode back partway and never met up with them, and continued to leave instructions nailed to trees.
He's an asshole.
Mhm. 3 members of the Donner Group, James Reed, Charles Stanton, and William Pike, rode ahead to try to find him and be like, what's going on? Along the way, they encountered steep canyons with dangerous cliffs and even had to move boulders out of the path to get their horses through, much less wagons.
It didn't occur to them to turn around.
Oh.
But also, you probably, once you slide down the hill, what are the chances the oxen
Mhm.
to be able to pull it up the hill?
4 days later, Reed returned to the Donner Group, but Stanton and Pike stopped to rest. He told them about the terrain and that Hastings was nowhere to be found and they could not rely on him to guide them through as promised. The group was forced to decide if they should try to follow what they could see of the Harlan and Young group's tracks, that's the group that he led first, or if they should follow the original Hastings cutoff, or if they should turn back and rejoin the Oregon Trail proper.
Go to the Oregon Trail proper.
Reed again, even though he literally just saw what the land was like, urged them to take the Hastings cutoff and stay on it.
Why?
I don't know.
I would love to have some kind of like recorded minutes of like how this conversation
Mhm.
went.
There are diaries. They're really hard to read because they're in, I mean, I can read cursive, but it's in someone's handwriting cursive and they're really hard to read. And I didn't spend a lot of time looking at them, but that's how we know a lot of this information. Travel was slowed nearly to a halt.
So now we're just going to hang out on this trail.
As the party approached, and I believe it's pronounced Wasatch range of the Rockies, so just a chunk of the Rockies.
Okay.
The 13-member Graves family caught up to the Donner Party. So now there's 87 people altogether with 60 to 70 wagons in this group. It's a lot. The Graveses were the last family to leave Independence, Missouri at the start of the Oregon Trail for the season. After them, everyone's like, nope, it's too late. We can't go. We have to wait until next year.
Yeah, because everything's going to freeze and
Mhm.
close.
This timeline puts the Donners already at the back end of the travel window because they're being caught up by, like, when the last people catch up to you, you're almost being lapped.
Yeah, like this isn't good news for
Mhm.
you.
The group only managed to cover about 1.5 miles a day.
So they could see how far and like turn around and look to see where they were.
Yeah, they could wave to each other in the morning and in the night. You could shout to one another by how far they made it.
So was this because the terrain was so bad the wagons couldn't cross?
Mhm.
Or are they just really bad at this?
All able-bodied men had to help clear brush, logs, and boulders from the path.
That must have been fucking exhausting.
Mhm. It took nearly a month to cross the Wasatch Range far enough to see the Great Salt Lake. So they're not cross. It took them a month to get deep enough to be able to see the lake.
They haven't even gotten to the worst part yet.
No. And then from there, it took another 2 weeks to actually reach the lake. So they're in this range for like 6 weeks, going like 1.5 miles a day.
I do not think they have the reserves for this.
God damn it, Nicole. By this time, the rations of the less wealthy families had dwindled.
Hope they can hunt.
That's coming later, and the members began arguing about the decision that was made to follow Hastings' cutoff. Hey, folks, sorry to tell you, but it's too late now.
Yeah, like you're in it. There's no going back. I mean, you could go north and just join the trail.
I think you'd have to go because you'd be like blazing a trail with
Okay.
wagons, which you can't really do.
Yeah.
Not that the trail they were on was in any good shape anyways.
I
But
mean,
you
you're
could
gonna-
still turn around
Yeah.
and winter over in Wyoming or something.
Mm-hmm.
Stanton and Pike, the two men who rode off to catch the trail guy with Reed, got lost on their return trip because they had stopped to rest.
Yeah.
So they tried to come back to the family and they got lost. But as the party progressed, they found them along the trail. And they were a day away from having to eat their horses.
Oh no! Once that happens, you fucked.
Yeah. Things are not looking great.
And I'm willing to bet those weren't like big juicy horses at this time.
No. Luke Halloran died from his tuberculosis infection on August 25th.
I mean, he probably got off the easiest.
Yeah. Shortly after, the group found another letter from Hastings, this one stating there were 2 days and 2 nights of difficult travel lying ahead, and that there was no grass or water for this travel period. The group rested their oxen and made their way up 1,000-foot mountain. So it's just like a climb.
Hastings is an asshole.
Mhm. At the top, they saw the Great Salt Lake Desert for the first time. It was a barren, inhospitable salt flat, and they were nearly out of water as it was. Having no other choice, they pressed on. Because at this point, you're too deep.
Yeah.
You can't turn around because it's going to be just as bad. You're in the middle, and no matter what decision you make, it's going to be wrong.
I mean, you're gonna die either way.
The sun's heat forced a crust of salt to form over the moist earth underneath. As the wagons traveled through, it turned into a gummy mess.
Uh-huh.
Some wagons became stuck up to their hubs, which is the middle of the giant wagon wheel.
You can't get that out.
No. After 3 days, the water was gone. Any exhausted oxen that were too tired to continue were abandoned, and some of them were just left yoked to the abandoned wagons.
They could have at least cut them loose. What a bunch of assholes.
Mhm.
Or you have all that salt, you could cure the meat and eat it.
You would think. Cattle and horses went missing. 9 of the Reed family's 10 oxen broke free and ran off into the desert because they were delirious with thirst.
Good for them. Fuck those people.
Party members saw mirages and believed they had caught up to Hastings and the Harlan and Young group. Instead of the 2 days and 40 miles promised by Hastings, it took 6 days to cross the 80-mile section of the Great Salt Lake Desert and reach the springs on the other side.
He has a sense of direction like me.
Yep. When they finally reached the springs, they tried to capture the loose livestock, everything that was lost. They'd send a couple guys out
Yeah.
and transfer belongings from damaged wagons that could no longer function into wagons of people that they could kind of buddy
Take
up
what you
with.
can.
Mhm. No human lives were lost, but by this point, nobody had any faith remaining in Hastings or his shortcut.
I hope they didn't have any faith in Reed either.
The Reed family had the greatest overall loss. James Reed demanded all the other families provide him with an inventory of their remaining belongings.
I would have been like, fuck you, sir. You're not getting an inventory of shit.
He suggested that 2 men travel to Sutter's Fort in California, where the proprietor, John Sutter, was known to provide supplies to aid wagon trains who were having a rough time along the trail. Charles Stanton, who had taken part in the initial search for Hastings, so Stanton's like, yep, I'll go again.
Yep. Even though I almost had to eat my
Yep,
horse the
yep.
last time.
And another man named William McCutcheon volunteered for this. 2 others went ahead of the general convoy to continue to rustle up the lost livestock.
They're putting a lot of faith in these 2 men. They could have just fucked off and been like, see ya, I'm going to California. I'm not getting stuck with this nightmare.
And when the other 2 guys, not Stanton and McCutcheon, but the other 2 who were searching for livestock, returned, they informed the party that another 40 miles of desert lay ahead. Having lost so many oxen, the wagons were pulled by a mix of oxen, cows, and mules. So you just have cows pulling stuff now.
They're having a real rough go.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going slower, so we're down to half a mile a day. At this point, why didn't they just take what they can carry? Because you're going to make faster speed on foot.
Fortunately, though, the group was able to cross this next 40 miles of desert relatively easily, much easier than what they had just come through, and made it into the valley near the Ruby Mountains. They had no choice but to continue and try and follow Hastings' tracks that he made with the Harlan and Young group, because otherwise they're going to be completely lost.
Mm-hmm.
But those tracks are now 3 weeks old. And this is not a blazed trail.
No, you're just looking for like bent grass. I'm
Yep.
assuming.
On September 26th, after 2 months, the Donner Party made it through the Hastings cutoff and were able to join up with the main California Trail at the Humboldt River.
Okay.
So it took them 2 months to take the shortcut.
See, I thought they were going to die on the shortcut.
Nope, and taking this shortcut delayed them by a month. So it only should have taken them a month to get to the same spot that they just arrived at, but it took them 2. And remember, we're in late September now.
It's getting cold, people.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the mountains.
As they continued to move along the Humboldt River, the group encountered members of the Paiute tribe, who stole or shot several oxen and horses.
Not friendly.
No. The group decided to split into 2 smaller groups in an effort to make better time, because now it's mid-October. Morale was low and tempers flared. After 2 of the wagons kind of got tangled with each other, John Snyder, a teamster with the Graves family, beat an ox belonging to the Reed family. When James Reed tried to intervene, Snyder hit Reed with his whip handle. Then James's wife, Sarah, that should say actually Margaret, stepped in. I don't know why it says Sarah. And she was also hit by Snyder.
Oh, so he's had enough.
Yeah. James Reed then fatally stabbed John Snyder.
So the one guy who can drive your fucking oxen, you stab him?
Mm-hmm.
James makes some really great life decisions.
Yeah. He's kind of the worst.
How did this poor woman get stuck with him?
Because they were in Mexican territory where established American laws did not apply, pioneers often enforced their own rules, kind of at the decision of the leader, George Donner. But he's in the forward group.
Okay.
More than a day ahead of them. So he's not there to offer
Advice
mature
or
guidance. Yep. The group discussed what
so
to
we
do.
all want to be in the Donner group,
Yeah.
but I feel like maybe I don't want to be in the
I
Donner
mean, we
group.
don't want to be in either group.
No. I am not crossing the Oregon Trail.
No. So this back group, the second group, discusses what to do with Reed, who is not popular. Obviously, we know that. He hasn't been popular from the start. But Snyder was well-liked. Eventually, as a compromise, James Reed was banished and ordered to leave the wagon train unarmed.
But the wife can stay, but he has to leave.
The remainder of the group agreed to take care of his family. His stepdaughter, however, secretly rode ahead and left him a rifle and some food ahead on the trail so he would come across it.
Okay.
He did catch up with the Donners and shared a horse with one of their teamsters named Walter Heron. So he's on a horse now.
Okay.
The livestock pulling the wagons grew increasingly weak.
Well, yeah, they don't have a lot of food.
There was little grass left for grazing, requiring the cows to spread out further and further every time they stopped. This allowed the Paiutes to steal 18 cows in one night, and a few days later they shot 21 of them. 21 others.
So they're just decimating.
Mm-hmm. All the Graves' horses had been chased away by the Paiutes. Everyone was now expected to walk. Louis Kesselberg even kicked out the 70-year-old Hardcoop from his wagon, telling him he had to, quote, walk or die, end quote.
Damn.
After a few days, Hardcoop's feet were so swollen they split open.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
So I'm assuming he died.
He walked to a nearby stream and was never seen again.
Okay.
One party member, William Eddy, begged others to help look for him, but they all refused, not willing to use any remaining resources on an elderly man. They'd also lost about 100 oxen and cattle and had pretty much no food left. Wolfinger, who was one of the wealthy guys, having lost all his livestock, stopped to bury his wagon. I don't know why they buried them.
Just leave them. Why waste energy digging a hole?
I don't know, and I didn't bother to look.
That's very bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Probably so the natives can't get it because there's so much animosity. I think they'd rather spend the time and energy to bury it than but I don't know.
I'd rather save my energy so that I don't die quicker.
Yeah.
But
2 men stayed behind to help, but they returned to the main party without him, explaining that he'd been killed by Paiutes.
So the rich guy.
Yep. The Eddy family was also forced to abandon their wagon and had no rations left. Other families refused to help. The Eddys were forced to walk, carrying their children. Even Margaret Reed, whose husband was banished, and her children were now without a wagon. But just as it looked like things would never improve, the party made it through the desert and soon came up upon the Truckee River, lush with grass.
So anything that's still alive has food.
Mm-hmm. So it was finally like the moment where you're out of the desert and you're in this place. It's like a movie.
So I'm assuming like, okay, we're going to hang out here for at least a couple of days because everyone just needs to recoup.
Stanton, one of the men who'd previously gone ahead to California to get supplies from Sutter's Fort, also met Kate. He was able to make it back, met up with them, and he had mules and food. He also had 2 Miwok guides with them. I think it's pronounced Miwok. That's like a tribal name.
Okay, so it's like is that
like the Miwok tribe.
But it's different than the ones that were killing all their
different
oxen.
than the Paiutes. They had these 2 guides.
Just to make it a little nicer.
Yeah, these 2 guides had converted to Catholicism, so they went by their Christian names, Luis and Salvador.
Okay.
Stanton also brought news that Reed and Heron had made it to Sutter's Fort. He met them there. Things were looking up for the Donner Party, but because of their delays thus far, they had little time to rest and had to continue moving ahead. And that's the end of part 1.
And no one's been eaten yet.
Nobody's been eaten yet. We've had several deaths.
Yep.
Nobody's been eaten yet.
They should have killed James. I do not like him.
Yeah, I don't like him either.
I hope that they roast him on a spit.
Yeah. So when I was writing this, I was like, okay, I'm going to write a pod about this. And like I said, was like 5.5 pages in, and they haven't even gotten to the pass yet. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to need to be a 2-parter.
Is this what you pictured me planning the Napa trip would look
Yes.
like?
I'm actually giving this story as words of caution.
Because I don't know how to drive from San Francisco to Napa.
So you're just going to eat us, I guess.
Yep. That is the only logical solution.
In part 2, we'll continue the saga, but I wanted to stop. That was like a really good logical place to stop in the story. It's about halfway through. And we'll post the maps and everything on buzzandbaffled.net. And then we'll talk as part 2 starts. I'll do a quick little recap in the beginning.
Okay. And so that'll be for next week.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're actually going to record part 1 and part 2 the same night, but we're doing like a Harry Potter thing and giving you we're recording it at the same time, but you're getting 2 separate releases.
I mean, you can't leave me with a cliffhanger.
No. And I know you just want to get to the eating. That's what you've been waiting for.
So, to the next pour and the next plot twist.